let's see what type we're going to be working with our third attempt, now that I definitely shouldn't be able to lose. I mean, it's just really a regular playthrough with one added rule. And we have got Ghost or Fire. And you know that I'm picking Ghost because that gives me my favorite of the 3 Delta Kanto starters that game introduces. What's going on, YouTube? My name is Dogman the Hero, and welcome back to my Pokemon Insurgence Type Switcher, not a Nuzlocke anymore. If you caught the last episode, I lost in pretty horrendous fashion, and the Nuzlocke part of this was just stressing me out too much. So I decided, going forward with the series, I am going to drop the Nuzlocke moniker. But hopefully it'll still be really interesting. And if you guys do have, I asked it on the video where I announced this and got my type. But if you guys do have any rule suggestions that I could add to make things a little bit more interesting than just a standard monotype playthrough, I am very much open to that idea. So yeah, just let me know. And I do want to say I am still a little bit under the weather. I think I'm coming out of my cold, but I can still feel it a little bit. So if I still sound horrible, I'm sorry. I'll try to make sure none of my sniveling or anything like that. No, that's not. Is that the right words? Either way, none of my sickness noises make it onto the mic. Anyway, as you would have seen in the little intro segment, we did get Ghost again, which means this is going to be a very familiar segment. I guess this is Reaper the Third then? Yeah. Does that fit? Reaper the... Nope. But we could just do the, like... How can we make this interesting? Reaper 3? Actually, I'm gonna be funny. RJJ. RJ Jr. Jr. I do think it is funny, in all 3 of the playthroughs, or all 3 of the attempts I've had so far, I have started with my Delta Charmander. It's like, they want me to keep... Screw you, Damien. They want me to keep going. So they're gonna make sure that I just keep getting my favorite of the starting trio right away. If we get a regular Charizard again, it's just fate. I'm supposed to play this game. Not supposed to win. The game has made it very clear, like, no, you can't win a Nuzlocke of us right now. But, can I get Pokeballs? Yeah. Also, I skipped all the stuff with escaping the Darkrai cult, just because that's a huge time sink, and I'm not really focusing much on the story during this playthrough. So I figured just best to, like, skip it for now and come back to it later. Or come back to it later. Let somebody else handle that. If you do want to see, like, a story-focused playthrough of this game, it's a bit old now, but I do always recommend MNJTV playthroughs of this game, because he was the one that got me into this game originally. And I just think that playthrough really holds up. So let's see if we can get our first Pokemon. Okay, the game... I'm gonna pause. Because you guys don't just want to see me doing that for, like, 5 minutes. Wait, I almost forgot to resume recording when I encountered it. See, when I'm on recording, it catches no issue. I figured a Twister would probably take it out. Now, I do still want to nickname all of my Pokemon, even though this isn't a Nuzlocke anymore. Just because that gives us more chance to get attached to them. What should I nickname this Ghastly, though? I suck at nicknames, honestly. I shouldn't do it to myself, but I do. I always, like... There's always the pun. Actually, let's do a little... I think that's it. A little Undertale's reference. Gaster. It still has a gas pun in there, which I love with Ghastly. Yeah. Now, I think I do still only want to really include impactful fights. Like, doing Ghost... We're pretty much on easy mode. Modest Nature Ghastly. That is awesome. could be better IVs, but still, like, that is fantastic. Don't know if we're going to be able to get much use out of it right now, but, like, if we get poison at some point, that's just going to be fantastic. Oh yeah, I'm going to get the team grinded up to see if anything really, like, crazy or interesting happens, and then I'll resume recording if anything, like, crazy or really interesting happens. But aside from that, I'll be back when we do the first Abyssal Bolt fight. Alright, I am back. And there is something I wanted to show before we did the Abyssal Bolt, and it does work out, because we are just a little bit underleveled. So if we go and we open the deck snap here, you click on this little Pokeball symbol. I think I showed this before, but if you head right to the bottom, you can fight youngster Joey and his shiny Rattata. The nice thing about doing this, if you have Charmander or a high enough level Ghastly, obviously we can't do it with Ghastly right now. This Rattata actually doesn't have a single move that can hit Ghost types. So, if you've got a Ghost type with Confuse Ray, or later on Ghastly will have Curse, you can do some really solid early game grinding before you get like the level trainers in your secret base against this level 50 Rattata. Because your Pokemon are so much lower level, this is going to give some solid experience for a while, and it gives you a little bit of money. It is a little bit luck-based, of course, when you only have Confuse Ray, because, like, if it just doesn't hit itself, you can't really do much damage to it for a while. But I still think that this is a very quick way to grind some levels, grind some money in the early game. Obviously, you'll get better methods for all of those things early on, or later on, but early game-wise, this is really solid. Like you just saw, that was about a minute. And compared to, like, the really low-level Pokemon that we'd be fighting otherwise, or now that we have Curse on Ghastly, yeah, I think Mean looks going to be the least useful. It's a really solid method, and I think I just heard my sister calling me, so I'm going to have to pause again. Alright, sorry, I had to step away for dinner. Anyway, so we now have RJJ and Gaster up to 13 and 14 respectively. That should be good for taking on the Abyssal Cult. Oh wait, no. Actually, I might be a little bit underleveled. It's fine. I love how whenever they do this, it still takes a super long time. Oh, I think his Skrelp does have Bane attack, though, so that might be a little bit of annoying. But it should be fine, especially since we're no longer doing a Nuzlocke. There's no consequences for, fainting. Let's see. If we can just get it to hit itself once. I'm not going to use another potion if I have to. There we go. Now we should be good. I really feel like I need to employ some kind of other rule to keep this interesting now that I've dropped the Nuzlocke from it. Actually, I'm gonna pause real quick and check on something. Okay, yeah. So, one thing I am debating, and I think I'm gonna hold off on it until we get to the gym, is potentially playing on hard mode. Now, the reason that I might not want to is because the hard difficulty does something that I really hate. And it's the reason that I hate fan games like Pokemon Radical Red and that sort. Hard mode on this game not only makes the trainer's Pokemon more difficult, but it sets hard level caps by doing that thing where it locks you to the level cap of the gym leader's Pokemon by just only giving you 1 XP once you get there. And I think there's another stipulation. Yeah, no, it's just a straight up, it locks you to the highest level by once you reach the level cap, it only gives you 1 XP. And I really don't like that sort of thing. It's why I don't do hardcore Nuzlockes. But at the same time, in a not Nuzlocke challenge, imposing that might keep this a lot more interesting than without. And it does put some pretty interesting teams up against us. Hold up, I gotta pause to take a drink. Alright, sorry if any of that got picked up. I still have a little bit of a cough, so I hope that's not getting picked up on camera. Yeah, the only real concern I have with hard mode is 1, the hard level caps. 2, it just makes the teams have like competitive EVs, competitive items. Which, if I'm locking myself into monotype, where even the gym leaders use 2 types instead of 1. Correctly calling that out, by the way, that's another issue I have with Pokemon Radical Red, is they will say that it's still just a like standard like rock gym, and then Brock will come out using like, I think like a Vulpix or something. That you gotta declare that sort of thing if you're gonna drop the type labels anyway. Man, I wish we could get this thing to Mega Evolve right now, because Mega Marowak in this game actually is a Ghost type, so we would be able to use it. But we obviously aren't going to get a Mega Pokemon before Gym 1, so that's not happening. But also, hard mode, I think the way that the wiki phrased it just locks you into set mode during the league, but it also prevents you from using any items. And that doesn't sound fun for me, so I'm going to debate it, but I'm not sure if we're actually going to do it. Anyway, I'm going to pause until either our next encounter or the tournament at the school, which should go pretty smoothly. Okay, so one thing that did just occur to me that I didn't mention before. So in case you guys were wondering, I am still going to be doing Nuzlocke encounter rules, because I feel like that just makes things more interesting when you're locked to a limited number of encounters anyway. And also, a rule that I just now decided on, that I'll have to go alter the layout that I've already made so far. I think I'm gonna stick to normal mode. Sorry, had to cough. I'm gonna keep to normal mode. But I am going to impose level caps on the next gym leader. So with Orion, that means we're going to be stuck to level 25 or below, which still does give us a lot of wiggle room. But yeah, it makes things more interesting. You know, I might actually catch this for later in case we get like Psychic Grass. We obviously can't use it now, but you're not guaranteed to get like any Pokemon from these when you run them. You could just get like an item or something. So yeah, let's actually catch this real quick. I'm not gonna waste my Great Ball on an Execute. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so obviously you can't use this one during this episode. We're just gonna name you Surprise. But that could come in handy later. So yeah, so none of my Pokemon are allowed to pass level 25. If they do, I'll have to box them like you would in a hardcore Nuzlocke. I feel like that's a fair rule. We take some of the hardcore Nuzlocke rules and impose them since we're not doing a Nuzlocke anymore. Still balances out the difficulty and means if we overlevel our whole team, we can still technically lose the attempt. I think that's a fair, fun rule. So yeah, I'm going to pause again until the tournament. Alright, we are back again because RJJ is about to evolve. Already. I'm realizing the level cap rule is actually going to mean that for some of these, we're going to have to be very careful with the trainers we actually fight. And with our level training, I'm realizing that could be like a stealthy way to completely lose a Pokemon. Charmeleon! And, yeah, Gaster fainted because I forgot to heal after Execute put RJJ to sleep. But yeah, just a little bit annoying, but nothing lost because we're not doing a Nuzlocke anymore. Anyway, back to being paused.
Alright, we are back. I tried seeing if I could encounter Rotom before we did the tournament, but I don't know the odds of actually encountering it from the TVs throughout the game, so we may or may not end up getting it within this episode. We'll have to see. Quick little team preview. Not much has really changed, aside from learning Nightshade. I also gave Gaster the leftovers that we can get into town here. Just because I think that's kind of a nice tech with Course. Lets us actually get it off multiple times, even if we have an even amount of HP without Gaster just immediately going down. Maybe when we get to the gym I'll move it to RJJ, but I don't really think so. Anyway, let's go ahead with the tournament. Should be pretty easy. The first fight is a ninja kid who has 2 fighting types, so it's basically a free battle. We don't get any XP from this, unfortunately, but my arch nemesis, Ninja Boy Kyle. Let's see, and then we can just use Nightshade. Forgot that some of his Pokemon will actually have Foresight. I really don't think the Riolu does, though. Oh wait, but does that go away if we don't... Forgot that I did not get full leftovers recovery there. It's fine. Like I said, no consequences for fainting at this point. Also, I looked on the Insurgence wiki with the difficulty settings. On hard mode, this tournament is counted towards that. I think it locks you out of any Pokemon above level 17. So, yeah, that's a little bit wild. I would not have expected that. Now, there is still a degree of danger here. It's actually what makes me want to preserve Gaster. Because we don't really have a fantastic solution for Damien's starter. Oh, I'm sorry if that got picked up. I might just have to like clip this and mute that segment. It doesn't help that I'm still fighting off my cold, and this is just a time where my allergies go a little bit crazy, and we should definitely outspeed to be able to set up first. We expect Gaster to go down. That's fine. I just want to get some lasting damage on this thing, so that it hopefully can't just one-shot us. But we can also set up a Confuse Ray to get it to hurt itself, and he's throwing. Let's see. Snapped out of Confusion, kept going for withdrawal though, so we get the win. What are you doing, Damien? I wonder if that's like a... because I think it's in Platinum. The rival in the second rival fight after he gets his Starly, he's actually programmed to not go for optimal moves so that you do not have like a horrendous loss that early on, as a way of kind of like encouraging the players. Holy crap, we might actually lose Dyslexia though, just from bad luck. We can set up a Confuse Ray. There we go. Alright, now on to Nor. Definitely gonna have to listen to this in editing and make sure that some of my sickness noises aren't being picked up here. Did I miss? No, we can't get a TM for Flame Charge before now. We're actually being outsped by a Sawaddle. That was wild. I feel like that should not have been happening. I also worry that my mic is too close to my mic right now. It's a constant balancing act that I worry about. There we go. See, Nora, I honestly feel like is the lesser threat in this fight, at least if you're doing a mono-type run. Or at least with this type. Simply because she doesn't have a starter that's super effective against yours. She doesn't get a Delta starter. I actually don't think Nora ever uses a Delta Pokemon. Maybe in hard mode she does, because I know they play it a little bit looser with Delta Pokemon in hard mode. Like, Orion has a Delta Aeron in hard mode, but I don't think Nora ever does. I know she uses, like, the Armored Ravani later on. Don't think she ever uses a Delta. Alright, so that is... Alright, that is the trainer school run. And realistically, the last, like, big thing we do or no, there's the second encounter with the Abyssal Cult, which does make me want to see if I can get a few more chances at getting Rotom in this town before we do that, because obviously having an electric type against them would just be absolutely awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'll cut back when we get to the Abyssal Cult fight. Alright, we actually got one. I couldn't find anything on the actual, like, odds of these guys spawning. I was wondering if maybe it was a case of, like, they only re-roll whether or not they're going to actually spawn in every, like, day or so. So none of the TVs we were seeing were actually encountering them. We just couldn't get it. Holy shit, Gaster, can you land a Hypnosis? I get he set up his evasion now, but oh my god. I'm getting very frustrated. I even have a cool name for you, Rotom, so don't be a little bitch boy and just get in the ball. I have a cool name already picked out for you. Made it so that You're gonna waste all my Great Balls, aren't you? There's nothing more frustrating than when a Pokemon just completely refuses, even though it does multiple 3 shakes. For context, I've been doing a Fire Red playthrough, just casually for a while now. This Rotom is now officially giving me more trouble than Mewtwo. Granted, I had Mewtwo paralyzed, but still. Rotom, I have checked every TV in the 2 towns we have available multiple times to find you. You failed to catch, and I have to go do all of that again. I'm gonna give you a horrible nickname. So just get in the ball. Okay, maybe you need to be a premier Pokemon, right? Nope. I'm getting very frustrated. This is going to be a very handy encounter, but right now it's really... Thank you. Okay, I'm still going to give you your cool nickname. You know, maybe it's because I insulted it on the very first attempt. That's on me, you know. Lost my temper for searching for, like... I think, like, 15 minutes now? Which doesn't sound crazy, but, like, for one Pokemon, it kind of is. The nice thing is, Rotom will always match the highest level Pokemon in the party, so we don't have to do any grinding with this, and it's got Thunder Shock. Uproar is pretty helpful, too. And Double Team if we want to be degenerate. So yeah, we're doing pretty good now. Actually, I do want to keep training up Gaster. So yeah, I think we've got one more encounter left. I think it's just a Sableye now. But other than that, the only real, like, major thing will be taking on the Abyssal Cult members and the gym. So I'll be back when it's time for our next encounter with the cultists. Alright, we are back again. You know, I always felt weird that this isn't a multi-battle with Nora, despite her showing up. Like, this feels like the setup for a multi-battle, and then it's just a single battle. I guess maybe they thought that was, like, too difficult early on, but I mean, you can get a Rotom before this fight, so... Oh, the Skrelp actually survived. I guess we don't really have any, like... We don't really have much EVs on the Rotom yet. I think Skrelp actually has a pretty solid special defense stat, so... Yeah, really nothing difficult. I don't think it would have been much more difficult with if it was a multi-battle. I remember, like, the first time I played this game, this scene confused me so much. I was like, there's wild Mega Evolution? Are we going to be able to, like, find wild Mega Pokemon? And maybe that's how you get the Mega Stones? And then you learn what this actually was, like, way later in the game. I guess they kind of hint at it here. But, like, if you head all the way, you can see there's a cave back there. So they kind of set up, like, there's more to these ruins than you might be expecting. And I'll hold off on what exactly that is in case any of you have yet to play this game and want to. But if you know, you know. Definitely giving that to RJJ. Maybe at some point we'll... but yeah, so I think the next big thing... and actually, if we don't run into any trainers, we can probably just head there and... Well, no, because I'm still going to have to run around a while to find it. But yeah, next big thing will be our encounter. Alright, and here is what I think is our last encounter for this part of the playthrough. Maybe not the most helpful, but I still feel like there's some cool things we can do with Sableye. Let's put it back to sleep, because then it's just going to be easier to catch. Actually, this Duskball is the perfect find for right now, since we are in a cave. There we go. I think we just named Sableye what it is. This is a certifiable gremlin. I hope I spelled that right. Let's see, did we get one with a useful ability or with a horrible one? Keen Eye. And an attack lowering. Alright, note to self, do not try and record another episode while I'm still sick. I had a surgery when I was, like, really young. So whenever I get sick, or anything really that'll cause me to, like, you know, anything that'll cause a normal person to develop mucus, that problem gets amplified for me. So, yeah, I need to take a cough drop soon. I'm at the stage where those take care of most things for me, still being sick, but... yeah. I'm gonna pause now, probably go get a cough drop, and then we will be back when it is time for the gym. Alright, I am back, and hopefully all over my cold. Wow, that is some perfect timing. So, looking at the team real quick before we take on our line, we are a little bit underleveled, but I think we might be okay. I mean, if we lose, I'll just come back and grind again, or I'll just go grind and then come back again. It's not that big of a deal. Not too many major changes, I don't think. Just mainly levels, some held items. I think since we're going 4-on-4, we should be alright. I did buy some potions. But yeah, kind of got bored of grinding, so let's take them on. Somehow I always forget his Reshiram starts off as just a rock. Oh, I did not realize it had drought. It's fine. Okay. We're gonna waste a Sun turn by going for Detect. Okay, that's fine. Because that was Gremlin's, like, main goal, was just to waste a couple of turns. We're fine. Jesus, Orion. Go down with some dignity. I say, even though I just said if I get into a rough spot, I'll heal. Okay. My recording does block the Charmeleon on the wiki, so I'm gonna pause real quick to check that. Okay, yeah, so I did confirm. So his Charmeleon actually does have a Dragon-type move. So what I think I want to do is bring in Upgrade, and we're gonna paralyze it. I don't want to resort to double team. Okay, that's fine. Okay. We might not win this attempt. Never mind, I think we actually have it now. Yes! That was some insanely good confusion luck. You know, over our current moves, I don't think Sucker Punch would be more helpful. Ivysaur could be annoying with like Sleep Powder and Leech Seed. It can't hit us super hard. So I'm gonna stay in with Gaster and see if we can set up Satis first. That sucks. Yeah, that does damage us a little bit more than our Confusion heals. I think we go for Confuse Ray, and then I'm gonna use a potion. I'm gonna try to limit myself to 1 potion per major fight, just because I think that makes things more interesting, given that we can't really lose anyway. I think our curse is literally just counteracting what the Black Sludge heals. That is unfortunate. But I mean, if we can get past Ivysaur, I'm really not worried. Okay, actually that's fine, because RJJ is completely healthy. This thing is super low. Yeah, there's still a part of me that debates going to hard mode, but like having the hard set level caps, I'm just not a fan of. Okay, I'm gonna real quick check the Stealing's moveset. Okay, yeah, so this thing can only hit us with Solar Beam. Really not that much of a worry. The only thing is it could get annoying with like Synthesis, but I think we're fine. Yeah. Whoa! I probably could have played better there. I know I could have, because I've done this fight without losing any Pokemon. But in terms of, like, that was a lot more fun, not having to really stress about it too much. I still feel like I played pretty well there, all things considered. Oh, right. Tempted to just take care of this now. It doesn't lead us to any fights or anything. Yeah. Let's just... This is honestly a really cool scene. Especially, I did a randomizer once where one of my encounters ended up being a Zekrom, and I actually caught it. So... My dog started barking. I don't know if that's getting picked up. So I had Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem all in one spot during this cutscene. It was super cool. I like how they give the legendary models, like, they make them bigger. I think they do that in Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well. But it's always a nice touch. These segments are always really fun. I feel like you have to speed them up, really, but... Bye, Reshiram. And a little preview. Okay, this is one thing that I always space, is that, like, Harmony... I think it's because there's a gym leader... There's a couple gym leaders in between, that this is, like, a preview, because I think Harmony's, like, the 4th or 5th gym leader. But yeah, it's always cool to see a important trainer early as well. That's another, like, very Pokemon feeling thing that this game gets right. But, yeah. That is gonna be it. We'll run back to the Pokemon Center and heal. Alright, had to step away for just a second to help my parents with something. Yeah, second time doing Ghost for the first gym. Nothing too crazy, but it'll be interesting to see what type we get next, and if we're... I say if we're able. Really, we just have to worry about the level caps now. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, nothing too crazy for this one, but you know, I feel like that's always the start of a playthrough, especially if you're doing something that you kind of already done before. I mean, I know I could beat Orion basically just with Delta Charmeleon, so really nothing too crazy to have 4 Pokemon going up against him. But it'll be interesting to see what type we get next time, and I hope to see you guys then. But until then, remember, Hail Gerald.